Good morning, everyone. So we'll continue the chapter 6 of history, towns, readers, and craftsmen. So in this we are doing the case study. Okay, we have already discussed about the Hampi. How was the town? How was the architecture? What was the cultural things which were happening there, right? We already discussed yesterday. Some parts were remaining, which I will explain today. So first we'll complete Hampi. So in Hampi, I already told Hampi where was the Hampi? Hampi was in Vijayanagar, right? And I already explained about the Virupaksha temple. Virupaksha temple was dedicated to Lord Shiva, and there the Devdashis used to perform in front of the deity, in front of the royalty, that means kings, queens, the royal family, and as well as masses, that means crowd, other people. The Devdashis used to perform in the Virupaksha temple in the it was a many pillared hall, and in many pillared hall in Virupaksha temple the Devdashis used to perform. That I have already explained yesterday. Now the Mahanavami festival. The Mahanavami festival which is now known as which is known as Navratri, right? So this Mahanavami festival, which now is known as Navratri, was very important festival in South at that time. It was very important festival. The Mahanavami festival, which is now known as Navaratri, was a very important festival of the South. So it was celebrated very beautifully, and in that, how the people came to know about this? That Mahanavami festival was celebrated very beautifully there, and it was very important festival which was celebrated in Hampi. So how we know about that time or the history, that I have already explained in previous chapters. We have the other different type of sources, and through those sources we find the evidence and we come to the conclusion. So the same way the archaeologists have found Mahanavami platform. Okay. So the archaeologists have found the Mahanavami platform. On this Mahanavami platform, the different programs were conducted related to Mahanavami festival. Okay, and that was in Hampi. The remains of the Hampi has been found by the archaeologists, right? Then only today we know that there was a city called Hampi. This kind of structure was there. The buildings were like this. The architecture was like this. So how we know? Because the ruins of those buildings are still there, right? Also, we come to the conclusion by the inscriptions, the written sources, right? So that also helps us. So here the Mahanavami platform has been found, and by this Mahanavami platform, the archaeologists have come to conclusion that Mahanavami was the festival which was celebrated very beautifully in the Hampi, and it was very important festival which was celebrated there. Okay. Now, if we talk about the ruler of the Hampi, we already talked that Krishna Dev Dev Rai. Krishna Dev Rai was there. Okay, so let us discuss about this Krishna Dev Rai a little bit more so that you can recall, you can just connect this Krishna Dev Rai. So you would have heard about Tenali Raman. Have you heard about Tenali Raman? Like you have the stories of Akbar and Birbal, the same way we have the stories of Tenali Raman and Krishna Deva Rai. You would have heard about Tenali Raman. There are many cartoons also, many programs also which is there in the television. So this Tenali Raman was the courtier in the Krishna Dev Rai. Okay, he was one of the 8 Ratna. He was one of the 8 Ratna. Like when we read about the Mughal Empire, we read that Akbar was having 9 Ratna in his court. Yes, Akbar was having 9 Ratna. In that, Birbal was also there. Right? Todarmal, Birbal and many others were there. So 9 people were there who were called 9 Ratna. The same way Krishna Deva Rai was having 8 Ratna in his court. And in this 8 Ratna, one was Tenali Raman. And he was very clever, very intelligent, just like Birbal. Yes? So this Tenali Raman was in the court of Krishna Deva Rai, who was ruler of the Vijayanagar Empire. Okay. Now, when we go through all the things of the Hampi, what we found, Hampi was a very developed city, right? Very developed town it was in the medieval period. But still, if we talk about Hampi today, it is not having a great significance in present day. Yes. That means the importance which Hampi was having in that time, in the medieval period, it is not having now. Yes, Ayush, video is not required. Okay, so the importance of Hampi has been decreased. So, how it happened? Actually, Hampi fell into ruin because of the Deccani Sultanate. I explained you about the Deccani Sultanate. Sorry. I explained you about the Deccani Sultanate. Right? In Deccani Sultanate there were many rulers. They were combined. So one very famous art form from the Deccani Sultanate we have read, that is Bidri. That was from Bidar. So Bidar also comes in this Deccani Sultanate. Okay. So what all were the kingdoms which were there in this Deccani Sultanate? So there was Golconda. I explained you in the map. Golconda was there. Then you had Bijapur. Then you had Ahmednagar. Ahmednagar was there. Then you had Berar. And you also had Bidar. The Bidri art form was from Bidar. Okay, so these were the kingdoms which came under the Deccani Sultanate. And as I told, this Hampi was fortified. Why it was fortified? As these rulers from the Deccani Sultanate used to attack every time in the Vijayanagar Empire. So that is why the Hampi city was well fortified city. We already discussed these things. Now connect the thing. Now you need to connect that it was fortified, it was well developed, everything was going well, but still this Deccani Sultanate was again and again attacking. Right? So because of the attack of this Deccani Sultanate in 1565, Vijayanagar Empire was defeated. Vijayanagar Empire was defeated. By whom? By this Deccani Sultanate. Okay, because by this Deccani Sultans, this Vijayanagar Empire was defeated in 1565, and at the time of the defeat of the Vijayanagar Empire, the king was Alia Rama Raya, Krishnadev Raya, and that time it was Alia Rama Raya. So Alia Rama Raya was the king who was defeated by the Deccan Sultans in 1565. So Alia Rama Raya was the king of the Vijayanagar Empire when it was defeated. Okay. And later on, if you see, later on, these all places were captured and controlled by the Mughals. Okay, when Mughals came, and we read in the Mughal Empire, when Mughals came, they captured Golconda and all, right? And slowly, gradually, they were coming this side by the Aurangzeb, in the period of Aurangzeb. Okay, so in the period of Aurangzeb, in the Mughal Empire, these places were captured by the Mughals. But before that, before Mughals, the Vijayanagar Empire was captured and defeated by Deccani Sultanate. Is there any question till now, anyone? We have completed Hampi here, and now we need to start Surat. You have Hampi, you have Surat, you have Masulipatam. So these places you need to study. So now we will study Surat. Is there any question from Hampi? Anyone? If you have any question related to Hampi, please let me know. No questions? Then we'll continue with the Surat. Now one more city, Surat, which evolved that time, and Surat was basically, if you see the port, it was a port city, okay, and a commercial town also, port town and commercial town as well. So we will discuss about the Surat. And Surat was called the gateway to the West. Now, why it was called gateway to the West, that we will understand. Okay. The gateway to the West. Now, first to understand this statement, we need to understand where is Surat. So, where is Surat? So, for this, if you see, Surat is in Gujarat. Have you heard about the state Gujarat? So if you see, the statement is Surat in Gujarat was the emporium of Western during the Mughal period, along with Kandy, which is present day Khabar, and somewhat later Ahmedabad. Now we need to understand the location of the Surat. And also tell you the Khambat. What is the Gulf of Khambat? Okay. Here, this is Gujarat. Everyone can see this. This is the Gujarat, and when we say Run of Khambat, this area is Run of Khambat. This area is Run of Khambat. So this area is Run of Khambat, and if you see, this area is Run of Kutch. This is the Run of Kutch, and this area is Run of Khambat. Okay. And this whole area, if you see, is the Gujarat. Now, when we talk about Gujarat, we can see it is on the western coast, right? It is on the western coast. The location of Gujarat, if you see, it is very easier for the people from Gujarat to trade, right? It was very easy for the people of Gujarat to so if this is the Gujarat, this area is the Gujarat. So if you see, it was very easy for the people to go to the western side, whatever continents we were having western side. So they can easily go there. Okay. And they can do trade very easily. And we already discussed that the port towns where especially the traders were going, the people were going and they were settling on the ports because it was very easy from the ports to go and trade through the waterways, right? So Gujarat is having such a location, and this is the Gulf of Khambat, and when it is near, this is the Gulf of Kutch. Okay, so what this statement is, during the Mughal period, Gujarat was emporium of the western trade. Okay, so emporium means the maximum trade can be done from that place. That is emporium. Okay, maximum trade can be done, maximum stocks will be there. So that is called emporium. Okay, so you would have heard about many of the shops also. They write emporium, sari emporium, like this you would have heard. Okay, if you will see the name of the shops, you will find many of the shops they add emporium. That means maximum stock you can get there. Okay, that is the meaning. So in here, if you see, emporium is maximum trade would be happening from that place. So during the Mughal period, this Gujarat, with the along with the Kandy, which is now this, which was earlier this Gulf of Khambat. So this area, okay. So along with this Khambat, Kandy, which was earlier Khambat, present day Khambat. That time it was Kandy, and some of the area of Ahmedabad. So these areas were very much developed. Okay, trade was very much easier as they were having the advantage of ports. So maximum trade was happening from that place. So that is why it is called that it was emporium of the western trade. So these western continents, western countries which were there, the maximum trade was happening from the Surat, okay, with the western countries. Now, Surat was the gateway for trade Asia, the Gulf of Hormuz. Okay. Also, Surat has also been called the gateway. The gateway of Mecca. Okay. Now, how this Surat, why this Surat is called gateway to the Gulf of Hormuz and gateway of Mecca? Because if you see, it was easier to go from Surat to these places. Okay, if you see the location of these places, these are in the Western Asia. Okay, this Gulf of Hormuz, if you see, it is in Western Asia. Also the gateway of Mecca. Mecca is in Saudi Arabia. Okay, Mecca is in Saudi Arabia. So it was very easy. If this is somewhat here, okay, somewhat here, if you see, you have Saudi Arabia. So from here, it was very easy to reach to the Mecca. Okay. And also Gulf of Hormuz. The Gulf of Hormuz is also here. Okay, somewhat here, Gulf of Hormuz you will find. So that is why this Surat was called the gateway of Mecca and gateway to the Gulf of Hormuz. Because if anyone wants to go to these places, they have to go. If anywhere in India, if they want to go to these places, they have to come to the Surat, and from the port of the Surat, they have to go to these places. So that is why these places were called Surat was called the gateway to the Gulf of Hormuz and the gateway of the Mecca. Okay, so Mecca, if you see, is having what you say, like we were having the temple town and pilgrimage centers. So Mecca is a pilgrimage center for Muslims. Okay, it is basically the pilgrimage center for Muslims. So if you see, it was a Mughal period. We were talking about Mughal period. In the Mughal period, the Surat developed. So at that time, the Mughals also they also used to go to these places. This place was having a significance because the ruler was also of the same religion. Okay. So is there any question till now? Why it was called Gulf, the gateway to the Gulf of Hormuz and gateway of Mecca? Because from anywhere, if any people want to go to these places, they have to come to the Surat and then they have to go to that place. Okay. So that is why it was called so. Any question till now? Anyone? What is Gulf of Hormuz? Gulf of Hormuz is a place. We have Gulf of Kutch. We have Gulf of Khambat. The same way Gulf of Hormuz is a place. We are talking about the place. Mecca is a place. As I told, this is a pilgrimage center. Let me show you where it is so that there would be no confusion. Just a minute. See, this is India. Just a minute. Okay. Here you have India. Here you have Gujarat. Surat was in Gujarat. Okay, and Surat was having the ports from where the ships were going to all other places for the trade. Okay, now Gulf of Hormuz, if you see, increase this. Okay, I am unable to increase. Just a minute, okay. Let me increase this. Okay. Gulf of Hormuz. So here you can see, this is here you have Gujarat, okay, and this is Gulf of Hormuz here, okay. This is Gulf of Hormuz. Sorry, this is Gulf of Hormuz. This is Saudi Arabia. Here you have Mecca. Now, from any part of the India, if a person wants to go to these places, Gulf of Hormuz or Mecca, as Mecca was a pilgrimage center, so it was having a significance. The people were going there. So from Surat, through the waterways, they have to go. From by the ship, they have to go to Gulf of Hormuz. And from here, they can also go to Mecca. Okay. These are the places. Understood? Ahana? Okay. Now the thing is, if you see, the place was so developed, it was developing, many other people were also coming there, right? The trade was happening. Without trade, no city can develop. That you understood till now, right? That no city can develop without trade. First you need craftsmen. Craftsmen will be there. They will make different type of crafts. Then you need traders. Traders should be there and trading should happen. So then only your town can develop. Correct? Now the thing is, when the towns develop, like today if we see, we have the developed towns like we see Delhi. I take the example of Delhi. So what happened in Delhi? If you go to Delhi, you will find the people of different caste, different creed, right? Different type of people you will find, right? But if you go to South, you will find maximum people is speaking in Malayalam or Telugu, like that. Okay? Because in South, if we compare to Delhi and South, the people are going, preferring Delhi more than going to South, right? The first thing comes in the, when a person is looking for a job, the first thing comes, we have to go to Delhi. Most of the people from Bihar, UP, they go to Delhi, right? But going to South is something different. The people do not think of going to South for job. So like this, if you see, if you compare any place from South and if you compare the place of Delhi, or if you compare your city and Delhi, in your city you will find most of the people are speaking Bhojpuri, Maithili, right? Is there anyone speaking Telugu in Telugu, Punjabi? Are you getting this kind of people? No. Why are we not getting? Because only few people are coming and doing work here. But if you go to Delhi, you will find each type of people. The people having different caste, different language. It is all mixed. Okay, intermixing is there. So that is called cosmopolitan. This term is called cosmopolitan. So in that time, Surat also was a cosmopolitan city. That means people from all castes and creed used to live there. Okay, people from different caste and creed used to live there. Now, if you see from any part of the country, if people want to go to west, they have to come to the Surat. Surat was the port which was in Gujarat. So the people going to west for trade, for a pilgrimage, if they want to go to Mecca pilgrimage center, they will first come to Surat and then they will go. Right? So different type of people were coming and intermixing was happening on very high level. So that is why if you see, and from the foreign also, not only that people of India was going there, the foreigner traders which were coming from the west, they also first used to come Surat and then they used to go go to other parts of the India. So like this, a lot of intermixing was happening. So it became a cosmopolitan city where you can find the people from all caste and creed. Okay. Till here, any question, anyone? Is there any question? Be quick if you have. No questions. Okay. Everyone has gone through the homework which I have given. Please do your homework properly. I am giving very easy homework so that you people can do, and very less amount of homework is being given. Please do it properly. These are long answer questions which we are giving. I do not expect the answer in 2 or 3 lines. And I am not asking you to go and find in Google and just write everything from the Google. I don't want that. Only you need to watch the video of the class. In class, I am explaining one topic for at least 30 minutes. So you write that only. I need that. Okay. Now, okay, our time is also over. So I will not start this topic today. We will continue this topic tomorrow. Okay. So we'll continue with the Surat tomorrow. Okay. Surat and Masulipattnam are the 2 topics which are left from this chapter. And if you have any question regarding homework, you can ask during the class. During the class, yesterday homework has been updated. Today also, if you have any confusion going through the homework, you can ask, ma'am, this is the homework. I am not understanding, or I need more explanation about the homework. Okay. Thank you everyone.